Hello, hello. Welcome in. I think we are live. Today is what's today? What is today? The ninth already? Oh my gosh. Okay. So we are let's see, Wednesday. I don't usually go live on Wednesday. I've been going live a lot more on Thursdays lately. So but anyways, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much, Melissa, for making it. I know you had a little bit of trouble getting here. But that's the typical thing when it comes to just trying to chasing our dreams and showing up. And, when the more we try, sometimes the more resistance kind of comes at us. Right. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds here. I'm going to do a little bit of back end just for a second. And before I introduce you, bear with me here. See if it's popping up. I'm having a little bit of slowness myself. All right, cool. All right, are you there? I think you're muted.
I'm here.
Okay, did you mute yourself in case? Okay, all right, cool. All right. Hey, so welcome to the Financial Fixer community. We are streaming in the community and also to YouTube. So I don't have very many followers or any followers on YouTube, but I'm just kind of trying to keep that as a place where I put content. So if you're here from anywhere, say hello. Let us know if you're live or if you're watching this on the replay. And I keep losing the stream. I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay, she's just pulling herself from the stream. Okay. All right. So anyways, if you are here live or on the replay, please just let me know, #live, #replay. And I'm here with my friend, my very good friend now, Melissa Alves. She is the host of the Mamapreneur social mixer, and she's just really helping women to show up more authentically on video and become visible, because that's not easy. It's not easy doing this live thing and all the things that we're doing, and just trying to show up here. And if we have a message, she is helping them to share her message as well. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce her and allow her to tell you more about herself and what's brought her here today, and about just anything that she wants to share. So welcome in, Melissa.
Hello, Amanda. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you and being here in your community.
Thank you so much. So I was just on your social mixer last. I don't know what's happening here. Here we go. Sideways. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, here we go. All right, that's so much better. I don't know what's going on with my StreamYard today. So but anyways, we were in your social mixer the other day, and I decided that I wanted to have you live this week. Not only have you been a part of my Budget Boss Bootcamp, but also just a part of this community, and you've been active and supportive of me as an entrepreneur too, as a mamapreneur, as you like to call it, which I totally love. And right now what we need is that connection, and we need that that feeling part of something. And, it's tough sometimes to get that support that we need, from those that are around us in our day to day. So, thank you so much for showing up to do that, and to kind of give that space for us to kind of be as much as us as we are, allowing me to be me, right? And having conversations with others that are going through similar journeys. So if you can just tell me a little bit more, or tell the audience a little bit more about the social mixer and kind of what we do there. I already know my experiences, and it's super epic, just getting to connect and be really present and in the moment with other women that are doing this. But tell us a little bit more about it from your end, and a little about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. All right. Welcome. So for starters, I'd love to know if you're tuning in, let me know from where you're tuning in from. I am from the New Jersey. Okay. Everybody knows New Jersey from Bon Jovi. Anybody Bon Jovi fans? Back in the day I was. So right now, the reason why the social mixers are so important to me, and why I value them for other entrepreneurs, specifically mamapreneurs, is because I love everything to do with community. and connections. And I always want that feeling of people not to feel like they're alone in this journey of life that we're in, right? And life is all about downs and like the highs and the lows and everything in between. But especially when you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, all right, if you are a solopreneur, drop that in the comments. I'd like to know. You suddenly feel like you're doing everything for your business, right? And one key factor that a lot of us have to do is marketing, right, for your business. And some of us do not enjoy doing that, which is totally fine. But if you're not marketing, that means that you're not doing some selling either. So they go hand in hand. And one thing that I realized is that why have to do something that you don't enjoy doing, right? Like one time earlier in the year, I read a book is like, it's not about how you're going to do it. It's who's going to help you do it. So when we figure out who our who's are, okay, then you'll have things that are lighter on your plate of juggling everything. Hey, Millie, we got Millie from Orlando. So I wanted to say hello. Send some of the warmness because we got chilly weather coming. As you can see, I'm wearing a sweatshirt because it's like 40 degrees here today. All right. So the connections and the building of a community and the support system, that's what I bring to the table when I host these social mixers and building those genuine relationships. Okay. The greatest success stories, the greatest entrepreneurs talk about building your group of 5 people that you can leverage each other, build genuine relationships with, and grow as an individual. So who are your 5 currently right now? You know, that's the question. And if you don't have your 5, start finding them. It's not too late. So, oh, I can't hear you, Amanda.
I muted myself on purpose and then I forgot. So yeah, so you were talking about the Fab 5, right? Like, I don't know. I think it might have been Jim Rohn, maybe, that said about the 5 people that are closest to you, the 5 people that you associate with. I'm butchering it, but if they're not, you know, kind of, if you're not able to embody that person and see yourself being at a new level, right? Like, so just keeping yourself, you know, in this space with people and associations that are, you know, going somewhere, that have a goal to, you know, up level, whatever it is, certain areas of their life, you know, the 7 main areas of your life, you know, whether it's spirituality or finances or, you know, health and wellness and, you know, all those things. Like, if they're not on money, yeah, of course. Yeah. That's what we're talking about here. But it's not about the money, right? It's also about so much of the personal growth. And if we're not on a growth trajectory, we should very, very much take a look at the people that we're surrounded with and what kind of conversations are they having, right? What are they saying? And are they building us up, you know, or are they building themselves up? Are they having conversations about themselves that's like not healthy? You know, you just like got to really start paying attention to kind of what we're taking into our brain. So I really do love that. And right now, like, many of us are, you know, being pulled in different directions. Especially if we're, you know, in our day to day right now, especially like as an entrepreneur or a mamapreneur, you know, and, you know, especially if we have kids, there's a lot of the juggling that it feels like that we're doing along with working our business and trying to grow that and being present and connected to that business and staying connected with our network. Right now, do you have any tips for doing that, especially now that we are being pulled in more directions with the season going on here in the States? You know, because I feel like I was talking a little bit about routine the other day, and that's really, for me, I think we're getting thrown off of our routine because it's one of those, we're in a season that's special. So new things are happening and kids are out of school. There's all kinds of things that are changing. And how can you give us some tips on navigating that, and kind of centering ourselves, recentering ourselves?
Certainly. So I agree with how we are going through a new season, right? And something that has helped me is being in the present. Like sometimes we often think about our past or our future, but we often forget, live in the moment. This morning, yet alone, I follow, I don't know if anyone follows Hal Elrod and the book Miracle Morning. A couple of years ago, I read it, and now I'm reading The Miracle Morning for Entrepreneurs. So he speaks about something called the Saviors, SAVERS. And basically, each of those stand for, it's an acronym, silence, SA, affirmations, V, visualizations, E, got a brain fart? Got a brain fart. Okay. But it'll come back to me and I'll share it in the comments. But anyway, so all of these letters, okay, stand for something. And it's like a ritual that you're creating to be in the present moment. So the last 48 hours for me have been a whirlwind. And I'm sure that here in this very community, we have life happening, and when you look at it, like, instead of it's happening to me, instead of saying that, it's happening for me. What is this lesson, life lesson? Okay, because they're all lessons that we're learning. What is it trying to teach you? Because what is it that I need? Like right now, literally 20 minutes, 25 minutes ago, my car broke down. Okay, what do I do knowing that I have a meeting with a friends? Like, okay, so it's like, do I melt down and cry? Do I stay there frustrated? Or do I find a solution? So as for me, I'm solution based, right? I'm like, okay, these are my options. What can I do? So when we start living that way and practicing different things that could help you, okay, stay in the present. And when I mean, it could be gratitude, it could be taking a breath. We often forget that our biggest asset that we have in our body is our breath. Hello, our breath is a gift. That alone will do miracles for you in every avenue that you face, everything. Last week alone, I was at my child's school and a little boy had a little breakdown. He's 10 years old, and I walked him through a breathing exercise, and he was able to get through that fear that he had because I shared with him his biggest asset is his breath. And it was the cutest thing once he sat down and you saw him. It was the cutest thing. So I want to assure you, okay, that the next time that you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, you want to cry and just like pull out your hairs because life is throwing you a curveball, take a breath. And take multiple breaths. But you need to start with that first one, that initial one, right? So that's my suggestion.
Yeah,
hey,
no,
Iowa.
I love that. I love that. Yes. Hey, Vanessa, what's up, girl? So I just was sharing some of this on the podcast from, I think, the one I dropped on Monday. And the first thing was, to do a breathing exercise. And this is something that it's new to me, like I haven't always used these tools, and I'm putting more tools in my toolbox, which right now, what we're doing right now is helping us and others to add tools to their toolbox too, which is why this is so important, this conversation that we're having. But also when I was at an event a couple weekends ago, I watched Trent Shelton live. He's the podcast host for Straight Up podcast. And what you just said about life is happening for me, not to me. He was, speaking that language, and he was talking about where's the message in this? And it's not about, what is this about or why is this happening? It's about what is this, like, not what does this mean now? Because when we're in like the moment, it's really difficult to even answer any of those questions. Like, really, we just need to start asking the right questions and not trying to like get to the answer like in the now. But maybe what is this going to mean, right? Like, how is this going to be? Is going to be something? Because don't you know, like, you have this experience, I have no doubt, that when you go through a tough time or a tough season, then, like, you're out of it like a month later, and you're able to now look back on that tough season, and you've got those lessons, and really those lessons are now in your toolbox, and you're equipped of that information. And you're like, that you never could have had that when you were in it.
Right.
So many traumas for me that I went through, or, crisis, bad things in the moment. I mean, you're paralyzed. It's, like, you just have to breathe, like you said, and, know that, right now I'm not going to get the answers that I want. Right. Because when we're in panic mode, like, we're wanting to get to a resolution like really fast. And that's not, what's going to happen usually. Like, it's, you might take some steps, but you're not taking, like, from a different, that you need that vantage point, that perspective. So it takes time to get that perspective from the experiences that we have. So I really appreciate that you brought that up. I think I went through in 2021, especially, I went through a really tough season. 2022 has been a madhouse too. But 2021 was really weird for me because I felt a lot of resistance. And it was like, the resistance was, it seemed like everything I was trying to do, I was forcing. And I realized that I was having that talk with myself about, oh, Amanda, no matter what you do, like, this is, something's always going to happen. This is that, like, I just kept having that negative talk. And that frustration of, why are all these things happening to me? And I remember writing on one of my boards, like, life is happening for you, Amanda, not to you. And I had to repeat that like daily, because it was just all coming at me. Sometimes we have those seasons that last for a long time too, right? They're not always just 3 days or one day, right? It can be several months. Yeah. Right? Like 2021, I turned 40 and suddenly I had hormone issues, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, like, my body's doing different things. I don't know how to respond. And yeah. So anyways, just recognizing that we've got to take a deep breath and realize that it's not that we're all like human, and all this, like, things happen all the time, and it's like, we're hazards, right? We're running into hazards all the time. We just kind of have to learn how to navigate. So yeah, it's tough at times. Life is tough, but there's so much good, like conversations like
so
this.
Much to learn from life.
Yeah,
from the life lessons.
For sure. So tell me, like, you were talking about like presence and like staying present and in the moment. What, other than the breathing, like, what do you feel has been a good exercise for you because as an entrepreneur, it's tough to shut things off, right? Like, when it's time to shut things off. Like, so I always say and try to work on staying present where my feet are, and sometimes that's tough because we may have, like, distractions or work that we didn't finish before it was time to go and be present with our kids or our spouse or, family, or just in general, be present and not be thinking about work, maybe some ways that you shut that off when it's time to be present elsewhere outside of your business or what you're working on, your personal growth, whatever it is.
Okay. Great question. I've heard time and time over about, there's two different ways, like the sense of there's no such thing as work-life balance. I've heard of that being said. I don't know if anybody here has heard that, right? Or the other direction that they say you can find balance between your life, your kids, you know, you can find a medium. So in my perspective, okay, when I first started my entrepreneurship journey, I was head ho. Okay. And when I mean I was full force, okay, hours in the morning, hours in the afternoon, hours in the night, staying up late. And after a while, it was burnt out. Okay. Total burnt out. And I realized, is this what entrepreneurship is like? Like more hours than your regular job, or not living a fulfilling life, right? I get it that you have to work hard, okay, but you also have to work smart, and you also have to find your happiness and what works for you. After a while, I completely just shut down, and I said, okay, Melissa, you have to go back to basics. And basics is, what are your core values? What is important to you? Family is first. That's just a given. It's my family. Okay. So when I realized, okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to work I guess you could say the 9-to-5 schedule into entrepreneurship. So what would that look like to me? And what it would look like is, after the kids are done from school, I would work the hours that they're in school. And then I would shut house, okay, shut off completely after 2 p.m. So what didn't get done in that time frame, and I totally get it in the sense of distractions, because you're working from home. You're not at a physical building, you know, you have to figure out what works best for you. So if it means, like, I used to work from a library. That's how I started. I would get out of the house just like I was going to work, and I'd go to the library. That was my workstation. Okay. They knew me every day. Okay. It was great. So then COVID happened and everything shut down. So then I was forced to homeschool my child. There were so many different things that came to play, right? So we still had to go back to basics. What is your core values? When you ask yourself that, and then when you work off of a calendar, if it's not in the calendar, it's not happening. It's not there. So my gym time is on my calendar. The time that I spend with my kids, my dinner is in my calendar. The time that I spend with my grandma, everything's in my calendar. Okay. So what I mean, but I know it sounds ridiculous. Okay. But if it's not there, then it shouldn't be of importance. Right. And knowing that you have a clock out time, just like you did at work. Okay. That shift of knowing that you have to clock in and clock out. Now, are there times that work does not get completed because you have a sick child, because you have to attend to a grandma or a loved one, or because of a doctor appointment, whatever it is that came of more importance than your work? Give yourself grace, for starters, okay? And look in your schedule to find a pocket of time that you can put in for makeup time, makeup sessions, okay? So I'm sure, and when I realized this, I heard it on first I heard it on a podcast, then I read it on a blog. I forget how many hours in the week we have, so I don't want to say the wrong number, but then you break it down, and it's like, oh, I have 20 minutes here. I have 30 here. I have 10 here. So all these minutes rack up, and you could find the time to create that banner, or make that phone call, or send that message. Okay. Because hello, we have this, and this is our mini computer, you know? So, finding that time in your schedule to just put some makeup time, so you allow for yourself to not beat yourself up for the things that didn't get accomplished. because they are of importance, but also finding the time in your schedule that you can make up for them.
No, I love that. And sticking to a calendar is just, it's critical. It's really critical. People might think I'm crazy, those that are watching this, but I've gotten up at 4 o'clock in the morning a lot lately, and 4:30.
You're not crazy, my dear. You got to do what works for you. Any 5 a.m.ers here? I've never heard of a 4 a.m.er except my husband, but he has a drive to work.
Yeah, so. Drive to work. Yeah. So, no, that's just been what's working for me. And, my husband doesn't get it, but the fact is that is the undistracted time for me. And what I can accomplish in those first 3 hours, what I have found is that when I do sleep in, which is fine when I do, because it's rare, but when I do, it's still about 6. And to me, when that happens though, when I wake up at 6, I know that I've missed out on those hours. So I have to actually have that conversation with myself. Like, Amanda, do realize that today you're not going to get as much accomplished as you usually do. So it's really important to give yourself that grace, like you mentioned, when things are different or otherwise from what your usual is. And for me, when you say makeup time, lately, just in the last, I'd say week or so, it hasn't been 4 a.m. every morning, but it's been around that time pretty regularly over the last couple of weeks, because I've had other things that have plopped into my day that have affected my schedule and my routine. So getting that extra hour or even 30 minutes in the morning before things get rolling has made a huge difference. Like being able to get on this live today and going live yesterday. I have a coaching session that's, I've got a schedule. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten to those things and those plans and those actions if I hadn't have placed, just said, you got to get up earlier. Sorry. And going to bed earlier is, you have to adjust, right? So it's all about prioritizing and making adjustments in the process. So I really love that.
Well, you just said the magic word is adjusting. Mm-hmm. You have to adjust to see what works best for you, because in the book, Morning Miracle, it talks about waking up earlier than the norm, right? Because you're more productive. But I've always said you have to do what works best for you, So if it's waking up 15 minutes earlier, that's an accomplishment. If it's waking up 5 minutes earlier, okay, and just doing 5 minutes of self-care for yourself, you're already starting in a great first foot. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting some kind of YouTube stuff going on here. Some weird, yeah. Anyways, I'll have to look into that because I'm live over there and I can't do anything to control that right now. So what I was going to say was we should probably pivot here in a second, but because we're going to talk a little bit about the Budget Boss Bootcamp. Yes. But our circadian rhythm, let's talk about that for just a second. It's different for all of us. That's just, when we're at our high and when our peak and when we're at our lows. And I think what's really helped me, and I've talked about this a lot and I can't help it, but what's really helped me a lot lately, over the past, 6 months, is really knowing when my peaks are and when my lows are.
Right.
Because when I'm aware of that, I give myself more grace. So if I know that I'm not being productive, it's because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and this is not what I should be doing right now. Right. I should actually be transitioning or pivoting to a better, choice for that hour, because anytime for me, it's between 2 and 4:30 or 5 is my low. That's where I know that factual. I'm going down. Okay. Yeah. If somebody's going to nap, it's going to be me at that time. Okay. I just know. But I do also take calls sometimes at those times. And, so recognizing, and that's okay, but like preparing myself, my rhythm might be a little bit lower. So what am I going to do earlier in the day when I'm at a high to make sure I'm getting something done, or that I'm prepared for that call at, that time when I'm at my low. So if that makes sense, I hope that that's helpful. But yeah, let's pivot just a little bit and talk about the Budget Boss Bootcamp, because you attended in, I believe, my August class, and it was so fun. And we're in a mutual coaching group. And I felt like you were, number one, getting in there to help support me, which I love going to your social mixers too, to help support you as a fellow entrepreneur, mamapreneur. But, I feel like you really got into it and you were a stellar student. And I was just so proud of you, because the stuff that we're doing in there, it's not easy. We're simplifying it, but it's not easy. And we're having to kind of pull back the veil or the curtain and take a look at things that maybe we really don't want to, that's why we're having this conversation about money anyways, in general. So, but I just want to say, after your participation in the Budget Boss Bootcamp, after those 5 days with me, do you feel like you're able to, have more confidence, I guess, with, getting through any roadblocks that you may have when it comes to your money? Like, how do you think that you came out on the other side as far as your confidence with money goes?
Well, definitely better than it was before, because I've realized that it's something that we don't get taught in school. They just tell you, here's your checkbook. This is, you got to balance it out. And then the world of credit cards come into play, right? And then student loans and all that stuff, right? Once you're 18, you just get hit with. And it's funny because every season that you're in, you learn something new about your money mindset, your income that comes into your home as it increases through the years. And when you had us do a breakdown of the income that's coming in, and then the expenses and all the things, your debt, it was like, holy smokes. It was like an eye opener of, wow, I'm spending a lot of money and I need to cut back. And there are things that are not necessary. And there are things that you just lose track. My mom used to one time she read about how you can put it in an envelope. This is your spending money. This is your investing money, envelopes. She did that for a little while. But I never got to do that. So as far as my confidence after taking the 5 days with you, it was definitely helpful because it gave me an eye opener of the money situation that was going on in our household.
I love how you brought up the envelope system. So I never used envelopes until when I first got on my ditching debt journey. Like when I was like, okay, I'm extreme. I'm going for this, right? And I'm getting out of debt. I knew that because I am a spender by nature. Okay. And I still am, right? Like
spender here too.
I'm looking for ways naturally, even though I've built those skills and I have the tools in my toolbox and I use them, I have to. But with that, I knew that I was going to have temptation. And the envelope system really helped me. I don't do it anymore, but I'd say for the first solid year, I had envelopes in my car. I know people say you're not supposed to put cash in your car, but I had like envelopes in my car in the console, and I don't carry it anymore. So if you want to carjack me, whatever. But seriously, I had like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I didn't care. To me, it was worth the risk to be carrying extra cash. I would carry it in my car and then I would put some in my wallet for so it was like groceries, fun money. There were other things in there. I can't even remember. Entertainment, right, which falls under fun money. But I had like 3 or 4 envelopes at one time. And it made a huge difference for me because once those envelopes were empty or getting close to empty, like that, and yes, I had a budget tracking system, but still I had the envelopes that, was part of the budget. So it kind of worked together.
Right.
That really, really worked for me. I wrote on the envelopes. Like I just, it was just, and it was fun. It actually made it more fun. I mean, so was that your mom or your
My mom.
grandmother? Your mom did?
My mom.
Yeah. So like, she probably enjoyed that.
Yeah, she did.
Truthfully,
she was able to pay a debt off too.
There you go. There you go. So, and that's the whole idea is, I also do this system through, if I'm working with somebody with QuickBooks or through their business banking as well, there's ways to do like sub savings and to have like different, categories, for, your taxes. So speaking of business stuff, like, so there's just doing it that way just makes things more organized. So that's the whole kind of like going back to the whole point of, working on a budget and creating a budget that works for you. It's about being organized, not to the point where you're, feeling this restraint where like you can't do something. It's more just, it's organized. It's in my face. I understand it, and it's now about the simple math, the life-changing magic of simple math, which is what we talk about and share in there. Because all we're doing is plus minus what's left. Plus minus what's left. And you're doing that by categories and so on and so forth. And that just breaks it down and simplifies it. And that's what we need in our lives as mamapreneurs, as humans, is more simplification. Because when something seems complex or just overwhelming, what do? Head in the sand, we quit, right? We just stop. So, and one of the things that we asked, and I think this was in day one, is, what is, if money were no object, if money was no object to you, what is one thing that you'd like to share about who you would identify with as a person? This kind of gets a little deep, but I kind of want to, hear just a quick synopsis of what your answer was to this, because you answered this, this was part of the workbook process. With no money stress, like there's no money stress. So how do you identify as that person that's money's not the object anymore?
I'm trying to remember what I wrote, but if to answer it now, okay, it would probably be fulfillment in all aspects, giving back more, participating with my time. And what I mean by that is I have a heart for children. I have a heart for teaching, and my mom, and that comes from my mom. My mom loves teaching, especially in the health field and nutrition. So a couple of years ago, we actually started a foundation in my country of Peru, my native country of Peru, for children with I don't want to say it's poverty, but I'm trying to translate the word in English from Spanish, but with low resources, right? And help them put your time in, because when you give back, it's just a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of fulfillment, generosity, right? So that's where I would be with if money was not an object, a problem. I would be in my native country or here, creating those type of environments for children.
Doing more of that. And, and what we did in the Budget Boss Bootcamp was simply visualizing, and kind of bringing that to life and recreating, I guess, the dreams that maybe we might be forgetting about, or we're not able to think about because we're so focused on, maybe the problems that we're having or the life stuff that we're dealing with, because I think we have so much to offer. Clearly you have so much to offer. That's a passion of yours. So you should definitely pursue that, right? And the way to pursue that is to make money no object, which means millionaire style, right? Like that's
like millionaire style. I like that.
That's right. Millionaire style. That's the way we can help and serve. So we did a net worth calculation. And do you think that this put that when we did that, I think that was in day 2 maybe, but do you think that this because sometimes when we do net worth, whether it's in our program or, we're training on it, sometimes it's like you learn that things aren't maybe as bad as they were. or is that you think that they are? You know, like what was your, do you feel like you had a perspective shift when you were able to do the net worth calculation in the process of the boot camp?
Did I have a what?
Like a shift in your perspective, like the way, you know, because I mean, taking that snapshot of the net worth like we did in day 2, I think it was.
Yes. 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 At that, I had to like study day 2 times. And I reached out to you about it because it was a little hard for me to figure it out. But once that I did it, it was oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember what your question was too. I think we talked about this. I think it had something to do with both parties in the net worth. Was it something to do with that, or I can't remember what it was.
Can't remember either.
I don't remember either. Yeah.
But I do remember that I did have a question on the net worth part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because it is already 40 minutes in. So anything else that you would like to share about maybe that aha moment that you got in, you know, just maybe if the first thing that comes to your mind right now when I ask you, what was your aha moment when you were going through the Budget Boss Bootcamp in those 5 days of training?
Well, for starters, you know your shit. Beat that, okay?
I won't.
I'm joking. Okay, and I loved you sharing your personal journey, your personal story with us, because that was very relatable. And you paying off your debt, right? We all have debt, and some of it is good debt, and some of it is bad debt. But when you're able to realize, okay, this is a plan that this is a plan that you can take. This is a budget that you have. Here are the tools that you can do, you know, and you guiding us through the exercises and showing us how to do it was very helpful.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm so glad. It was so much fun having you as a student, and you were super engaged. And I believe that you asked so many questions that were so helpful to the other students, which is the key there, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, because sometimes we may have a question that we don't even know we have, and somebody else asks something and gives us that answer, you know, it's a great way to walk through a program step by step. So thank you so much. And we'll be sure to link access to you so that where people can go ahead and tell us where people can find you really quick. I know we're very heavy on Facebook, but if you wanted to talk about any of that, or of course, we'll
definitely
share links.
Follow me on Facebook. That is where I hang out. Send me a personal message if you want to connect and have a conversation, and we could chat about you and how you can join our next social mixer, which is bi-weekly. We do that. But
awesome.
Send me a message.
Awesome. Cool. And if you want to know anything about the Budget Boss Bootcamp, it starts on Monday at 1:00 Eastern. And as long as we have another hurricane coming to Florida, but anyways, we won't even get into that right now. So, but that's when it starts. And if you have any questions, you can certainly send me a message, and we'll leave information on the, whether you're here listening to a podcast, because this will be repurposed into a podcast. If you're on the podcast, it'll be in the show notes, and it'll be in the comments here on the training that we just did. So thank you so much for joining, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Thanks,
awesome.
Melissa.
Thank you, Amanda. See you.
See you later.